Welcome to this presentation with a study titled "The Partial Satisfaction with Airport Service Quality and the Insight from Julius Nyerere International Airport in Tanzania." I will take you through this presentation outlines. As you can see, I will start with a background of the start. All us, ladies and gentlemen, we know that airport is very important for the development and very important to the movement of people and the cargo. When you are talking about the long travel, long haulage, means you are referring to the air transport. Nowadays, air transport have changed in terms of being grown, has changed in terms becomes of more sophisticated. Most of us, we know that most of us, we have been traveled. Airport nowadays, they are no longer used to embark or dispatch of passengers, but they have become sophisticated in terms of having shopping malls. Most of them have movie theater. Why is this? Because studies show that when you went to travel by air, you use 70% of your time for your discretion to do your things. Only 30% you do the mandatory process. That's why you can see that now we are moving from the traditional airport to the very infrastructures and very complicated airports. The Airport International Association, IATA, have been projecting that $1 trillion will be spent to improve the airport infrastructure by the time of 15 years, from 2014 to the 2019 for the time of 15 years. But again, the Airport Council International has been projected that there will be an increase of 3.8% to the time of 15 years until 2043, meaning that the air transport growth will increase gradually annually. Some of us will ask, why partial certification and why study carried in Tanzania? There are a number of reasons. That's why this study was conducted in Tanzania. The reason number one is that the International Airport Association has been receiving complaints worldwide from passengers, complaining about their services and the other mandatory processes at the airport. And most of these complaints, they come from developing countries. That's why you can see the study coming from Tanzania. Apart from that, when you compare the number of arrivals, especially international arrivals, you see that the Tanzania lags behind it is the counterpart countries. You are referring to Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. As you can see, the numbers of where Kenya is 2.1, Uganda 1.9, and Tanzania lags behind 1.65. Now, what is the gap? Most of the reviewed studies indicated that as a result, there is established a link between the airport service quality and the partial satisfaction. But the result from this different study indicate that there are inconsistencies that some of them they bring some positive and other negative results. And this study, to cut out these issues, comes with a hierarchical service quality model to test this model in the airport context. And this model believes that the service quality in any aspect, in any context, can be viewed at the hierarchy, meaning that their variables are measured at high level construct. When it comes to the theoretical literature review, you see that the hierarchical service quality model as a framework of evaluation of the airport service quality, it is a higher order construct, meaning that the variables are measured in stages, meaning that we have higher order, second order, and lower order construct. But again, this model we are built under the foundation of the theory known as expectance disconfirmation theory. But again, when you go to the empirical literature review, we see that most of our reviewed literature, we found that they acknowledge that there is a relationship between the service quality and the passenger satisfaction. But again, most among of the reviewed literature, they showed the inconsistency. Some of the results showed the negative results. Some of them showed positive results. This is maybe due to their context or methodology or different theory used. This is a conceptual framework we constructed from the literature review, but again constructed from the theory. All of the left hand of the airport service quality, I have the construct where I measured as the higher order. You see that the airport interaction quality. This variable deals with the personnel at the airport. The airport environment quality deals with the servicescape of the airport. And in the last one, you have to correctly deal with the accessibility of different models connecting to the airport. This is a methodology followed with this study. Study with such methodology, we followed the positivism. Why positivism? Because as we are researchers, we are far from the result. And whenever you see the result on this study, we are independent, we have known any bias from this study. Our population was 1.6 million international passengers, but our study was USD International Airport, and the sample size was delivered is 399, and this is because the population is known. The range of analysis and impact international passenger. The sampling technique was convenience because the passenger already available at the airport. The data collection was questionnaire. The data analysis technique, we employed the spatial least square using the same equation model. But the tool for analysis using the SPSS and implemented in Smart PLS4. This is a result for the outer model, or we call that is the measurement model. You can see that the condition here is that all the numbers of the indicator readings should be above 1.5, and you can see all of the numbers are over 5. The composite liability should be above 1.7, or you can see the numbers above 0.7, or even the average variance extracted should be above 0.5, meaning that in research, the data quality is very important. That's here before you go to the structural model, then here we are advised to conduct this measurement model. This is exactly for the discriminant validities, and the condition here is that the numbers on the diagonal, as you can see, should be below 0.9. Thus you can see that the number all are complied. When you go to the structural model of the second order, you can see this is extracted from the Smart PLS4. And the issue to note here is that when you look at the pass coefficients, all are indicate that there is a positive relationship which is significant. But again, when you go to the determination, model determination, which is R square, is 0.035, meaning that the independent variables from the left explain the dependent variable at 30.5%. Now, dear ladies and gentlemen, now this is a hypothesis test results. As Kenya, we have 3 hypotheses as developed from the conceptual model. And the condition, we are looking at 3 issues here. One, we looked at the T values, which is in the first column, and we looked at the confidence interval, and finally looked at the F square. And the condition here is that the T value, in order for the relationship to be significant, should be above 1.645. As you can see, all the numbers are far from 0.7. But again, when you look at the confidence interval, you see that the number of the interval should not contain 0. As you can see, the numbers are positive, meaning that there is no 0 contained on the confidence, meaning that the hypotheses we are tested all are significant and positive. Now let me allow me, Chair, the dear participants, to go to the discussion of findings. The airport service quality, we found that has a positive significant effect on the passenger satisfaction, which means that it is aligned with our model used, which states that the hierarchical service quality model is positively related to the passenger satisfaction. By doing this study, it is confirmed that the hierarchical service model were confirmed to be used on the airport context. But not only that, in the other way, the study were aligned by the other studies, as they have been shown from Carlo and the others. But again, when you go to the individual variables, as I said before, the airport outcome quality was going to have the most significant positive effect on passenger satisfaction. And before I said that this variable is concerned with accessibility of airports. Means that this airport is more accessible. That's why, as you can see on the Pascal V beta is 0.0331, meaning that the airport is more accessible. Again, when you go to the airport interaction equality, this variable is concerned with the staff in terms of expertise, in terms of experience, in terms of handling customers. Also, they showed the good numbers of beta 0.245, meaning that the airport staff somehow they are doing good on their service their passengers. That's why the passengers were satisfied. Again, the last one was the airport environmental quality, which found again to be positive and significant on passenger satisfaction, meaning that when we are talking about the airport environmental quality, we are talking about the safescape. And here, dear ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the environment of the airport. We are talking about the ambience conditions, meaning that we are talking about the background music, the air conditions, the lightings. But again, we are talking about the symbol and the artifacts, the directions. We are here, for instance, we are here on the conference, but when in any incidents, we have shown that we have exited here so that we can escape. That's why this variable we are talking about that issues. But again, allow me to go straight to the implication of the study, and we categorize this implication into three. We have theoretical and empirical, methodological, and practical. In this case, for theoretical, we confirm that in the airport costs, applying this model, it accommodates more variables so that in short way, we can tell that this theory is upholded in the airport context, but methodologically, we use the high order construct in implementing the two-stage disjoint approach, and which is more in the methodological terms. But it practically calls the airport managers, policymakers, to implement more feedbacks mechanism so that because the way now is changing from measuring metrics and number of passengers, now it is moving to the issue of it is customer-centered feedback from passengers. Lastly, this limitation of the study, as you can see from the table, because of time, you can see that our independent variable explain only 35.5% for dependent variables. We call more studies to use more variable to explain more on the dependent variable. But this study is a quantitative in nature. Some studies may go on to use a qualitative to explore more information. But lastly, this study was focused on international passengers which are departing. But the other study which may focus on domestic passenger to do some kind of comparative studies. As Chair, I thank you for the time. Thank you, participants. Thank you.